Friday. Yes, it is Friday. It's the 29th day of the month of October. And wishing you the best that you can be on this wonderful, really wonderful day. We're going to start things off, and we're going to kickstart things with the word of the day. Why is this not behaving the way that it is supposed to? I'm not quite sure why, but you know what they say with Murphy's Law. But what I can tell you, though, while we're up and about, you probably get more details in the sports segment, though. Well, West Indies, they do or die battle against Bangladesh, and they're currently on 33. For the last of three, Bangladesh, they won the toss and they chose to field. So that is what's happening in that encounter, and we certainly get more on it later as the morning progresses. You know, this is with Murphy's Law, so now I have to decide to go to digital device number 2, because what I need is not holding up for me here. So Kelon, let's work with me, because for some reason my page right here is not responding the way it's supposed to be. So let's look at what's happening first and foremost with the COVID update. We're going to look at the COVID update. Well, not just we get to the COVID update in just a bit, but just to look at some of the regulations as they were updated for us. So you are aware that, of course, effective the test. Active cases, 26, thank you, Callan. 126 active cases and two new recoveries. We have no deaths, which is always a good news, actually. So congratulations, we are doing well, and we continue to see the adjustments in the regulations, and it's because of the progress that we've made with those COVID numbers that we've seen updates in the regulations. So the curfew runs from 9 until 4. Curfew runs from 9 until 4. We now realizing that travel between Grenada and Carriacou, yes, that is now open. So travel to Grenada and Carriacou is now open, and sporting activities, yes, well, that is now allowed, but of course venues must be able to accommodate participants in compliance with 6 feet physical distancing, yes, and no physical spectators actually allowed. So that's it for now, at least when it comes to the progress that we are making. Master Control, I am literally running blind on my end. So maybe what you can do for me is throw up the word for the day. If your system, for some reason, I am frozen in time here. So if you can either pull up for me the right. So the word for the day is incandescent. Incandescent, which is an adjective, and if you know that an adjective is a word that describes something. So incandescent is defined as white, glowing, or luminous with intense heat, strikingly bright, radiant, or clear. So you can either refer to your bulbs as being incandescent, or you probably can refer to a personality that is incandescent. They just radiant, and some people are naturally that way. They are marked by brilliance, especially of expression. So you know there's some individuals, they might be a bit gloomy, they stay into themselves, introverts, not. And the other individuals, they are just glowing with energy. They're bright. They are spark in the morning time. And I certainly hope that's what classic does to you in the morning. This gets you up and about. So that was the word for the day. Just throw it up, put it back up for me, Master Control. Word for the day, incandescent. So that is the word for the day. We're now going to run through incandescent, as you can see, and incandescent spelled I-N-C-A-N-D-E-S-E-N-T. Incandescent, an adjective, and spelled I-N-C-A-N-D-E-S-C-E-N-T. From the word of the day, we're going to go into the thought of the day. And I'm still hoping that my system is going to at some point trying to be nice to me. But for some reason, it isn't being that cooperative this morning. So I literally have to pray that Kellon be nice to me over there in Master Control. So the thought for today: the price of success is hard work. No argument over that. The price of success is hard work, dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand. Let's take it again. The price of success, Grenada, and I commit this to you on the 29th day of October, that the price of success is hard work, nothing else. Dedication to the job at hand, and the determination that whether we win or lose, we have applied the best of ourselves to the task at hand. And very often I say to individuals, sometimes we push ourselves, we push our children, people that is around us, and we measure their success by whether or not they get a particular pass mark. And obviously sometimes to our kids that you encourage them. And the ultimate question I normally would ask: have you done your best? If you've done your best within a particular situation, then we need to add to your qualities. But if ultimately that's the best that you can give, that's what is required at all time. Give the best that you've got and leave the rest up to the good Lord Almighty, and let the chips fall where they may. Simple like that. Yes? So, reminding you just a bit, we get the morning edition comes up next, right here on Classic. It is 27 minutes onto the hour of 7 o'clock. Remind you, when we break, for those in radio, your news comes up. And those of you in television, we send you back to Studio Control, and Kellon is going to give you a recap of some of the top stories from last evening. I will rejoin you sometime after 7, I promise you. The good Lord's willing, I promise you, when we link up with Dr. Francis Martin. Yesterday, NADMA did issue a bulletin regarding the ash and the cloud, that misty. So let me just see if I could put it up here, because I am literally going in the blind right now. I'm working in the blind right now. But yes, so NADMA did issue that advisory yesterday. And the advisory is for the state of Grenada, and the conditions that you see is as a result of the dust from the Sahara and the volcanic ash from the Spanish Isle of La Palma, as in the Canary Islands, resulting in reduced visibility across the state. But that being said, that has its own challenges for individuals that have compromised respiratory systems. So Dr. Francis Martin will join me after 7, so we can have a conversation to keep you in the know, because ignorance is no excuse, and certainly you want to be, what can you do to keep yourself and your family safe in these troubled times? There's the ash, there's everything else, there's COVID. Continue to do what you have to do, folks. As you make your way out to the house, 60 minutes onto the hour, reminding you all COVID protocols remain in full effect. The wearing of the mask, sanitization. Even when I'm sitting in the studio, I've got my sanitizer right here with me. My mask is never too far away. And Kellon knows before he bunks into the studio, he better put up a red flag, a white flag, and his mask, or else there's no entry at all. The morning edition comes up next, right here on Classic 105.5 and 105.9 on the FM band. And for you in television, you get a repeat of the top stories from last evening. Take it away, Master Control.
Imagine having the home of your dreams. Imagine investing in that piece of property you can call your own. Imagine finally doing that home improvement project you've always been thinking about. It's time to stop imagining and start doing. Let the GUT Credit Union help you take the first step with fantastic rates, affordable repayments, and reduced legal fees. Make the move. Get better terms on your mortgage. Use your home equity to make those dreams a reality. Act now. There's really no place like home. GUT Credit Union. It's where you belong.
Once upon a time, we shopped at Wonderland, then Neverland. But we're all grown up now and no longer believe in fairy tales. So now we just shop at Shoes R Us. At Shoes R Us, we stock the latest in shoes, tops, and jeans for the fashion-conscious lady. We also carry colognes and much, much more. And for the modern trendy male, we have the latest brand name shoes and sneakers, Converse, Reebok, Nike, K-Swiss, Puma, and much more. So check us out at our two convenient locations, Melville Street in St. George and Ben Jones Street in Granville. At Shoes R Us, we say, come shop with us.
Are you looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 for 18-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Fallage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
Once again, thanks for joining us. I am Blossom Alexis Welsh with the details. Top story this evening. Considerations are being given to reducing the non-fuel charge as Grenadans continue to cry out in frustration about a notable spike in their electricity bills. While government is pointing to the fuel service charge and increased usage by consumers as the rationale for such increases, Acting General Manager Clive Houston, responding to the media, says GrenLec is working with the regulator to address consumers' concerns. Gerard Joseph has that story.
Electricity has been directly impacted by the health crisis via the increase in the price of fuel. Efforts to reduce the fuel service charge have proven futile, at least in the immediate future. But what about non-fuel? The non-fuel charge has not risen since 2016, and according to Acting General Manager Clive Houston, this is due to the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission being given the mandate to set electricity rates. Houston says GrenLec has been in discussions with the Commission on its system of computing the rates.
They had issued rate setting methodology, tariff setting methodology, documentation, and there has been public consultations, on that particular regulation and a number of other regulations over the last year and a half. According to Houston, the non-fuel component of GrenLec's energy cost caters for the administration lines, power plant generation, and overheads. The Acting General Manager notes that GrenLec had used a calculation for a non-fuel charge based on the cost of living. However, deliberations on a new method are ongoing. And the new methodology will change. We'll go to a different type of system altogether based on rate base. It's still under review. We would have to do a lot of studies. In fact, cost of service study. There's a number of other studies that would have to take place until we come up with the final formulation. Houston says while negotiations and assessments are continuing, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission is looking at an interim tariff. which will address a number of factors. So these are things in the pipeline. It's very difficult for me to say exactly how it's going to pan out because it's still under consultation, it's still under discussions.
With no end in sight to high electricity bills, Grenlec and our government are advocating for energy conservation as the rigors of increasing cost of living and global food prices are at play in the middle of a pandemic and recession. I am Gerard Joseph, reporting for GBN News.
Meanwhile, government has admitted to a different approach going forward in the management of Grenada's lone electricity utility company, Grenlec. Finance Minister Gregory Bowen alluded to a significant cost factor as the justification for the change. Here's Gerard Joseph once again with the details.
On December 29th, 2020, government announced along with the repurchase of Grenlec shares that it had approached the World Bank and the International Renewable Energy Agency, IRENA, to procure the services of a world-class management company to operate the utility company. That management company was expected to take charge of divesting the shares via public offering and advancing Grenada's objectives towards renewable energy while achieving lower electricity prices. However, 10 months on, Finance Minister Gregory Bowen says, due to the high prices of these management companies, government is forced to change its approach.
Working with the World Bank, they agreed that if we conduct a study, and the sense, that's why I said that we look at the personnel and all of the things in place. They will make recommendation as if they were the managers. Ideally, if you get a consultant, they do not want any executive position. So as opposed to getting that company that would have charged a significant amount of monies, we have tailored it now into a consultancy. A
consultancy will now be tasked, according to the Finance Minister, with operating Grenlec in cooperation with the current management.
And the consultancy will be working with the management of the company in the sense that we do not expect the management that we have there now to go against the recommendation, of the company. So it is in that context that we're moving forward, as opposed to a professional company coming in and taking everything and charging you a sum of monies that you figure you could get the same result with. And we have changed that approach together with the World Bank. Because first we were talking the management company in total, but you say you can get the same result by getting the consultant, and now you can guarantee that what they put forward will happen. So they need not the executive for which they charge you a significant amount of monies.
I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles says the COVID-19 situation in Grenada is far from over, as the island has only experienced its first wave of the COVID-19 virus and may experience a second if the population diverts from following the protocols once again. We get more in this report from Rena Perez-Thomas.
Despite the drop in hospitalization and new active COVID-19 cases, health officials are warning the general public that the COVID-19 pandemic is far from over. Chief Medical Officer Dr. Sean Charles says Grenada now has to prepare for the future and do things differently to avoid the second wave of COVID-19.
By no means we are at the end of this fight against COVID. We can only look at the many examples from right across the region and right across the world. We are now emerging from this, our first wave, so we're not at the end. This will be the new normal for a little while. But we have accomplished a lot in the last few days with the cooperation of many Grenadians. We have also observed an outpouring of generosity from citizens, friends, partners, both locally and internationally.
According to the latest COVID-19 dashboard, Grenada has 124 active cases, of which 6 are new. He said the Ministry of Health recorded a positivity rate of 2.3%, which he warns should not be underestimated, while applauding the level of protection the vaccine can give. The CMO outlined some of the things that should be expected going forward.
Well, we can expect to have low-level spread of infection for some time. Cases will spike if we create the conditions for this to occur, meaning that we abandon the public health protocols that protect us. Levels will be kept manageable if we do the right things. Hospitalizations and death, however, will continue at some level for some time.
Dr. Charles is appealing to Grenadians to not repeat their mistakes in letting their guard down and to follow all COVID-19 protocols, which will keep COVID-19 cases down. For GBN News, I am Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
The National Disaster Management Agency on Thursday issued a dust hazy advisory for the state of Grenada due to a combination of Saharan dust and volcanic ash in the atmosphere. Details in this Chrislina John report.
People suffering from respiratory illnesses are being cautioned as the island is presently experiencing hazy-like conditions. The Met Office at the Maurice Bishop International Airport have issued a dust hazy advisory for the state of Grenada. According to the advisory, the conditions are due to a combination of Saharan dust and volcanic ash from the Cumbre Vieja volcano on the Spanish Isle of La Palma, Canary Islands, resulting in reduced visibility across the state. These conditions are expected to continue over the coming days, varying in intensity. The Ministry of Health is advising people with respiratory challenges, such as asthma and other allergies, to wear a mask, avoid outdoor contact if possible, ensure you have an adequate supply of medication, and be in contact with a physician in the event such intervention is needed. NADMA further encourages motorists and marine users to exercise increased caution due to reduced visibility. La Palma eruption began in September this year. The ash seen is said to be floating around for about 1 week. The Canary Island Volcanology Institute in Volcan stated that a giant lava fountain of molten rock has gushed out of the volcano as recent as 2 days ago. River of lava rolling down the hillside are up to almost 3 kilometers wide. Christina John, GBN News.
Grenadian educator Dr. Cheryl Bishop Barnaby Bishop has been chosen as a facilitator for a webinar organized by the OECS and designed around a new social studies material developed specifically for the sub-region. Named Footprints, the new text is geared specifically to primary school students. We get more in this Gerard Joseph report.
Footprints, according to Dr. Cherry Bishop, is a series of social studies textbooks designed for grades 2 to 6 at the primary school level. The Grenadian educator will be the facilitator of a webinar next Tuesday, which targets regional teachers, other educational officials, and parents. Dr. Bishop tells GBN that students have been shortchanged in terms of textbooks pertaining to social studies, which is a core subject and encapsulates geography, history, and civics. The educator says this may now be reversed as the OECS recently introduced the standards for textbooks for primary schools, from which the Footprint series were birthed.
Not just only the OECS islands, but so far Jamaica and the other islands are truly on top of it all. And they're already registering, robustly to attend the webinar. Because at the webinar, I'll be highlighting the main features of the book. Okay? So one, I'll discuss the cover, because that's very essential, and the alignment of the standards with the text. And then what's delightful again is the fact that the book is written with scope and sequence, so that at every level, the teacher knows what concept, right? What has to be delivered at a particular time, and the order in which it must be delivered.
She notes the use of technology and the creative arts are deeply intertwined into the book.
And so it means that students will be able to participate, to be active participants during the class. What we've been longing for was student-centered classrooms, where students become at the core of the learning. If we look back at what's been happening, not just only in Grenada, but throughout the region, chalk and talk stands out still, and much of what we teach maybe over 100 years ago, much change hasn't been done.
Dr. Bishop believes the Footprint series have uncovered new strategies for teachers to use within their classes.
And on that note, I will say that the book lends itself as well to authentic formative assessment strategies, meaning real life experiences. So the students can engage and get out, get to the parents' kitchen, get outside in the yard and do. So the doable becomes, or the action comes to the fore. And that's very important when our children can develop those skills.
The educator says parents can also be engaged alongside their children while using the textbooks. I am Gerard Joseph for GBN News.
In other news, Press Secretary to Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell, Philomena Robertson, is well known for her work with the government of Grenada, but many may not be aware of her charitable side. Chrislina John chats with Ms. Robertson, who prepares to mark a historic event in support of Reach Within.
Grenada's press secretary to Grenada's Prime Minister Dr. Keith Mitchell is Philomena Robertson, and this year she is making a historic personal achievement as she prepares to hit the pavement running on November 7th, marking her 22nd marathon. Apart from being her passion, Ms. Robertson will do so in support of a local charity, Reach Within, for which she has run 5 times in the past, dating back to 2011. Understanding how seriously COVID has affected the fundraising efforts of Reach Within, Ms. Robertson wants to do her part so that the organization can continue its important work. Robertson speaks of preparation for the upcoming event on November 7th in New York City. The marathon, she explains, will be run through 5 boroughs covering 26.2 miles.
In terms of preparation, that's an interesting question. I mean, I try to run often. I don't always get to be consistent because of the demands of job and just life in general. But I've been doing some running. I don't feel thoroughly prepared, but I know that once I start that journey, I will complete it. And for the children that I support, what I'm doing on that single day is not, it's just a small measure of what they have to endure throughout life.
Robertson, who has completed marathons across the United States of America and in the Caribbean, tells of what inspires her to keep going.
What keeps me going is that I really find running as a way to keep fit, of course, to maintain a healthy lifestyle. And in terms of doing the marathons to Reach, just being able to use my willpower to lend the support to the cause. I mean, the marathon is it's a huge challenge.
Reach Within is a non-profit organization that has been working with Grenada's most vulnerable children and teens since 2005. Its mission is to help transform trauma suffered from abuse or neglect into healthy living. It strives to help children and teens thrive against any odds.
Reach Within has been doing a significant amount of work in Grenada. There are children within our society who are vulnerable, who've been traumatized. So the work of Reach Within really seeks to assist these children, to give them a better chance at life, really. They use various means. They use yoga, they use rhythm, different things just to redirect the brain from these negative experiences so that the children can go on to have positive lives as young adults and even further on in life. So for me, it is really an honor to support that kind of initiative. And I will continue doing it for as long as I can.
Reach Within supports the work of the Child Protection Authority, a division of the Ministry of Social Development, Housing and Community Empowerment. Robertson shared this health tip with individuals for a healthier life.
I want to use this opportunity really to encourage persons. You don't have to necessarily be an avid runner, but just being active. Whether if you're only capable of walking, just get out there and walk. Just maintain an active and healthy lifestyle, particularly at this time. The pressures that the pandemic has put on us, it makes it even more important, that we take care of ourselves.
Chrislina John, GBN News.
And it's that time of the night where we bring you health updates. For this week's GBN Health Edition, Krista Campbell zeroes in on a serious condition associated with COVID-19.
New research has found that a possible consequence of a child contracting COVID-19 is now a disease called multisystem inflammatory syndrome. MIS is a condition where multiple body parts become inflamed, including the heart, lungs, kidneys, brain, skin, eyes, or gastrointestinal organs. While the true cause of the condition is still being debated, medical professionals have found that many children with MIS-C contracted COVID-19 or had been around someone with a confirmed case of the virus.
What we know about MIS-C is that it appears to be a delayed response to COVID-19 infection. Many of the children that have presented with MIS-C have either an infection with the novel coronavirus that causes COVID-19 or have had an exposure to somebody who has had a confirmed case of COVID-19.
MIS-C can be serious and even deadly, but most children who were diagnosed with this condition have gotten better with medical care. As such, while health officials have not discovered any cases of MIS-C in Grenada, it is still essential for parents to look out for the signs and symptoms of the syndrome.
The thing that we want parents to look for is fevers, especially high fevers that are lasting more than 4 days. We want to know about kids who have fever with rash, abdominal pain, diarrhea, red eyes, swollen hands and feet, anything in that description, especially if it's with fever.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, and the National Institute of Health are working with several doctors and researchers to learn more about MIS-C and improve diagnosis and treatment of the condition. Although MIS-C has not been detected in Grenada and other Caribbean nations to date, health officials across the region remain on high alert. For this week's health update, I am Krista Campbell reporting.
Welcome back. Inter-island traveling has resumed between Grenada, Carriacou, and Petite Martinique. The restriction was a move by the government to curb the spread of COVID-19 on the island due to the recent spike of the Delta variant in the country. Rena Perez-Thomas has more.
As of Wednesday, the 28th October, Osprey Lines, the main passenger ferry service between Grenada and the sister isles, resumed the services to the general public. The ferry will be operating every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, twice per day between islands. Minister for Carriacou and Petite Martinique Affairs, Kendra Matthew-Stewart, says that for more than 2 months, travelers were forced to stay put after government implemented restrictions to curb the spread of COVID-19. She said she is happy the service is now available.
So as it is now, commencing today, there will be no longer a need to have a travel authorization to travel between Grenada and Carriacou and vice versa, or for one to subject themselves to a rapid antigen test prior to travel. As a result of same, Osprey, which is a passenger ferry, are now authorized to travel, not authorized to conduct its usual course of business. As a result of which they have published their schedule of trips back and forth, and it's something that we greatly appreciate at this time, because we know, yes, while we are trying to fight and we are trying to deal with the COVID-19 situation, it was necessary for persons to be able to move back and forth.
The minister said that owners of the ferry have been given their full cooperation to the authority throughout the pandemic to fight the spread of the virus in Carriacou and Petite Martinique.
Cooperation in this regard. Throughout the period, I've had extensive discussion with them. As a matter of fact, I would have spoken to them on Saturday of last week, indicating that this is where government was going and what we were doing, and for them to get ready to commence operations today. And they have cooperated, and hence the reason why we are seeing them back up today. Osprey has already given their commitment, as per usual, to ensure that passengers continue to wear their masks and they continue to observe the social distancing while on board, and that temperature checks and hand sanitizing takes place upon entry.
Passengers are also reminded to adhere to all protocols stipulated to access the services offered. For GBN News, I am Rena Pett Thomas reporting.
A group of young people over the past months were engaged in a geo-information system mapping exercise for the National Water and Sewage Authority, NWASA, as part of the Climate Resilient Water Sector in Grenada project, G-Cruise. In this report, they speak of their experiences and how the data gathered will assist the country's water company to further improve its operations and delivery to customers.
Building a climate-resilient water system begins with adequate and accurate information. The National Water and Sewage Authority is making significant strides in addressing the issue of leakage throughout its infrastructure. This is being carried out in collaboration with the Climate Resilient Water Sector in Grenada project, G-Cruise. A team of 9 young male and female are essential to the change required to build the resilience. A team of 9 young male and female are essential to the change required to build the resilience of its water supply against negative climate change impact. Their role is to gather data related to the utilities' water supply infrastructure, inclusive of pipes, sewer systems, meters, and wells across the country. The data is then digitalized and entered into the utilities' geographic information system, the GIS. The experiences were shared.
I heard about this opportunity through a social media platform, and I applied because it aligned with my career path of the choice, which is environmental specialist. My expectations were to get a glimpse of what my future field would entail.
I heard about this opportunity from a woman scholarship program that I was in. I decided to apply because I wanted to help NWASA better its water services, as well as contribute my part to climate change.
I would describe my experience over the past 5 months as occupational training. I got the opportunity to explore a new technology, that of GIS, and how it would be beneficial to NWASA in finding and identifying leaks, evidently leading to water conservation.
The GIS mapping exercise is an activity under the G-Cruise project, providing an unconventional work opportunity for the young professionals, thereby combining digital skills with experience in the water sector.
The data that I have gathered will benefit NWASA and by extension Grenada, because the pipelines that we are currently recording, after post-processing, they will be able to put it on a map, so there will be better identification of the assets. There will be leakage reduction.
The challenge will benefit from this project because it allows for easy identification of leaks when reported by customers and enable them to see how much water is lost, so they can implement measures to save more, leading to cost efficiency and in the future happier customers.
The GIS system is a modern digitalized approach intended to significantly improve practices in asset management, decision-making, and coordination of operations. The ultimate benefit is an adequate water supply to all consumers. The Climate Resilient Water Sector in Grenada, G-Cruise, is partially financed by the Green Climate Fund, the German government, and the government of Grenada. Chrislina John, GBN News.
Let's get tough on breed your larceny. It will destroy our economy. Larceny threatens our food security. Can hurt us locally, hurt us globally. To all the buyers, ask for license from all produce sellers. To all the people, from police for them thieving fellas. To all the farmers, don't steal produce from your brother. Then you're selling to traffickers, hotels, and street vendors. Nah, man. Let's do all we can to stop radio larceny. New vigilance, new laws, and a tough judiciary. Stop Grenada's organized business crime. It's time.
To report radio larceny, call 300.
Introducing Color by Seasons. 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 Color by Seasons.
Running low on groceries? Why not visit realvalueiga.com and experience our new online shopping platform? Place your order, then go out and enjoy your day to spend more time with friends and family. Delivery available within select locations or in-store pickup available. Sounds simple, right? It is. Stress less, live more with Real Value IGA online store, where good food begins.
Ultratech gasoline and diesel, available only at Rubis stations.
A disaster or emergency may disrupt food and water supply, so have at least a 3-day supply of food on hand. Store foods that have long storage life, need little or no cooking or refrigeration. Store canned or ready-to-eat foods, 100% canned fruit juices, nuts, crackers, dried herbs, and spices. A message from the Grenada Food and Nutrition Council in collaboration with the Ministry of Health with support from the Pan American Health Organization.
Raise it high up the ladder.
All hear something, eh?
On fire.
The other morning, me and Doc sit down talking. Scholar come out, way come out. Hot and sweaty. He just come. Guardian Livingston, why is it? So I find the man out the line. So I say, Scholar, what happened to your manners? You have to have some dash respect. You come out, way you come out. You didn't say morning. You didn't say Mr. Godfrey or Mr. Livingston. We bigger than you, we older than you. You just come Godfrey Livingston. What you say? All you find around?
All you want to Godfrey? I have to say Mr. Godfrey and Mr. Livingston. They're big than me. So I have to have respect. So that respect walking. As a matter of fact, you don't have nothing they can respect again. Why Godfrey don't move it?
Well, that's what I say. I know I can wrong. You have to have some dash respect. So join us Friday on We Culture Folks, 8 o'clock, and we will tell you more about respect and how manners make it man. So see you then. Everybody will be there.
This is a message from the Ministry of Health. If you or a family member suspect that you may have contracted COVID-19 and are displaying symptoms, please immediately self-isolate at home. This means that you must also avoid all contact with other members of your household. Do not visit hospitals or health centers, as this creates the potential for further spread of the virus, and it puts additional persons at risk when you come into contact with them. Your best course of action is to call the COVID-19 hotline at 458-4787 or 538-4787, or contact your nearest health center or medical station. Once your information has been received, health officials will come to you. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. This has been a message from the Ministry of Health.
Are you looking for quality herbs and herbal supplements, or are you thinking about having a complete body cleanse to jumpstart your health? Then no need to look further. Visit Nirvana Natural Health Clinic, Detox Center, and Natural Health Store. We carry a wide range of herbal products for kidney and gallstone cleansing, male sexual enhancement formulas, asthma and sinusitis, gas and bloating, acid reflux, constipation, arthritis, imbalanced hormones, female health issues, liver cleansing, weight loss, and so much more. Also available, colonic irrigation, holistic health consultations, essential oils, and diffusers. Look out for our online natural health store coming soon. Call 231-6642 418-7115 or 449-7753 to find out about our delivery options or to book an appointment. Visit us at Belmont St. George's, close to the Foliage, Monday to Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Nirvana Natural Health Clinic. Detox your way to health.
Get Rubigas. Get cooking. Rubigas, clean, safe, and reliable LPG is the perfect solution for your commercial and everyday needs. For cooking at home or barbecuing, choose Rubigas LPG cylinders. Available in a variety of sizes from 20 to 100 pound cylinders. Rubigas LPG, clean, safe, reliable. Are you cooking with Rubigas? Get Rubis, get going.
JBN Television News at 7, a pulse on all things Grenadian. Look out for our new features through expanded synergies with our media partners in Barbados, St. Lucia, Jamaica, Trinidad, and beyond. Capturing the latest in news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Credible, informative. Thank you for making us number one. News at 7, live, Monday to Friday on GBN Television, Channel 7 and 11. K105.5 and 105.9, Hot 98.5 and 98.7, GBN Television Facebook page and YouTube channel, and www.gbn.gd. GBN, with you anywhere and everywhere.
Looking for that injection of vibes and energy, of course? Well, I've got just that. Hi, my name is Gary, Mr. Smooth, and I'm inviting you to join me on the Hot Morning Show on Hot 98.5, 98.7 FM. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 10 in the morning. I've got a healthy dose of your favorite and most infectious hits sampled with information, news, laughter, and all the other ingredients that go into making the hottest morning show on the radio. The Morning Heat. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit us up on WhatsApp, 435-7517. We've got topics, we've got discussions, calls, voice notes, and so much more. But I can't tell you everything. You gotta tune in. The Hot Morning Show on Hot FM 98.5, 98.7 with yours truly, Gary, Mr. Smooth. Kaboom!
Martin is intimated with you. This morning, we'll be speaking about, just advising you on, due as a result of the compromised air quality with the presence of the ash and the Sahara dust, just giving some information, tidbits and information as to how you can keep yourself safe. I have here the press release from the Ministry of Education that was sent out yesterday, and it raised the limited reopening of schools announced recently by the Minister of Education, Honorable Emmeline Pear, comes into effect on Monday. The discussion to reopen schools for a two-week period for specified groups of students was taken after intensive consultation with the Ministry of Health and education stakeholders, including the Education Advisory Council, Management Board of Denominational Schools, and the Grenada Union of Teachers, Principals, Parents, and Students. Among the issues highlighted were students who were not being engaged in online learning since the commencement of the current school terms, exam readiness for students in exit classes, such as Form 5s, the inability to engage early learners online in significant ways, students who are low performing and reading below their grade level. Remote learning difficulties faced by special education students, teachers who are not engaging the students, and teachers who are challenged in creating quality content for online learning. Minister Pay also cited the escalation of the abuse of minors, attempted suicides, and loitering during school hours among social behavioral issues, which are often attributed to remote learning and high stress levels among teachers in adapting to online learning. She outlined concerns related to the national examination trend, which shows a decline in pass rates in mathematics and English and CSEC examination. So, well, let's just go through this. So that's the release that was sent, and I'm just going to go through now some of the specifics as it is. So, looking now at preschool, that's pre-primary and primary schools, learn on Monday, kindergarten to grade 2, and then preschoolers 3+. That's on Monday. So we still at the pre-primary and primary levels. So for preschool and pre-primary schools, Mondays there's kindergarten to grade 2 and preschools 3+. That's Mondays. On Tuesdays there is grades 3, 4, and 5, along with preschoolers 3+. And Wednesdays to Fridays, there's preschoolers 4+ and grade 6. So that's at the preschool, the pre-primary and primary level. At the secondary level, this is the expected plan for next week. Mondays, there's Form 1s, Forms 2. So on Monday, there's Form 1 and Form 2. On Tuesday, the third formers and the fourth formers. That's on Tuesdays. And Wednesdays is the fifth formers. If you at the T.A. Marisha Community College, on Mondays, it is year 1. Tuesdays, year 2. Tuesdays is, so Mondays and Tuesdays is year 1 and year 2, and on Wednesdays there is year 2. So for those of you that's in television, the people in television, you can follow it. And so that's just to run through it again. So there you have the schedule layout, and certainly we're encouraging you, if there's anything you do not quite appreciate as to what is the process going forward. So again, just to recap it, we're looking at the expected plan for the phase reopening of school. Again, pre-primary and primary schools, Mondays. Kindergarten to grade 2, preschoolers plus. That's for Mondays. So let me just run through it. So that's what's happening on Mondays. So at the pre-primary level. Also expected to be in school on Mondays. At the secondary level, Form 1, Form 2. At the T.A. Marisha level, year 1. That's on Mondays. On Tuesdays, expected to report to school are grades 3, 4, and 5, and preschoolers 3+. If you are at the secondary school level, on Tuesdays, Forms 3 and 4, and at TAM CC, year 1. And for Wednesdays to Fridays, you have the preschoolers 4+ and grade 6. That's at the preschool and primary level on Fridays. On Fridays, secondary schools and the fifth formers. That's Wednesdays to Fridays. And at the T.A. Marisha Community Level College, Wednesdays to Fridays, year 2. So, keep in mind, that's the expected plan, and certainly the principals of special needs schools will contact parents on specific arrangements for their group of students. Students who are unable to wear a mask or who have underlying medical conditions are advised to remain at home. Now, again, the principals of special needs schools will contact parents on specific arrangements for this group of students. Students who are unable to wear a mask or who have underlying medical conditions are advised to remain at home. School attendant officers will follow up with these students and parents during this period to ensure compliance. For schools currently undergoing construction, the principal, maintenance officers, and contractor will determine whether work continues or whether the work schedule should be altered to accommodate the reopening of schools. Additionally, the Education Ministry will continue to provide cleaning supplies and personnel for sanitizing public schools. Yes, explaining the process for reopening of private schools, well, Honorable Minister Pierce says private schools shall obtain an electronic application seeking approval for resumption. Approval will be granted on a case-by-case basis, depending on factors like the number of students and the size of the school. Monitors will be assigned to follow up to check for compliance. So in case you're wondering, yes, this is what happens for those at primary schools. You make or submit your own application, and it will be addressed on a case-by-case basis. Wonderful, folks. Wonderful. It is just about 28 minutes onto the hour. We take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be linking up with Dr. Francis Martin to start a little chit-chat regarding as it relates to individuals with respiratory challenges. Quick commercial break. We'll be right back right here on Classic in the Morning Time.
This is a message from the Ministry of Health. If you or a family member suspect that you may have contracted COVID-19 and are displaying symptoms, please immediately self-isolate at home. This means that you must also avoid all contact with other members of your household. Do not visit hospitals or health centers, as this creates the potential for further spread of the virus, and it puts additional persons at risk when you come into contact with them. Your best course of action is to call the COVID-19 hotline at 458-4787 or 538-4787, or contact your nearest health center or medical station. Once your information has been received, health officials will come to you. Help prevent the spread of COVID-19. This has been a message from the Ministry of Health.
Raise it high up the ladder.
All I hear something,
On fire.
The other morning, me and Doc sit down talking. Scholar come out, hot and sweaty. He just come. Guardian Livingston, why is he? So I find the manners out the line. So I say, Scholar, what happened to your manners? You have to have some dash respect. You come out where you come out. You didn't say morning. You didn't say Mr. Godfrey or Mr. Livingston. We bigger than you, we older than you. You just come Guardian Livingston. What you say? All you find around?
All you want to Godfrey? I have to say Mr. Godfrey and Mr. Livingston. They're bigger than me. So I have to have respect. So that respect walking. As a matter of fact, he don't have nothing they can respect again. Why Godfrey don't move it?
So that's what I say. I know I cannot. You have to have some dash respect. So join us Friday on We Culture, folks, 8 o'clock, and we will tell you more about respect and how manners make it man. So see you then. Everybody will be there.
As I say, a special welcome back to our viewers on television, and indeed it's a pleasure being here with you. I'm just getting ready to engage our friend this morning. Good morning, Dr. Martin. How are you?
I am well, thank you. Good morning to you and to the listening public as well.
I see you have your young boy shirt today. Or is that just a Friday appeal?
No, it's a Friday.
So, it's just a Friday appeal. So it's not.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with how youthful you look or feel.
Well, yes, too. I like the Friday appeal.
Laughter is good medicine for the soul, and you and everybody else is definitely going to agree with that. But in the midst of laughter, Doc, on yesterday there was an advisory from NADMA, and that spoke to the compromised air quality as a result of the presence of the Sahara dust and the volcanic ash from that volcano in the Canary Islands. Put it in layman terms, what are the concerns? And they made specific reference to individuals with respiratory challenges. How concerned should one be?
Well, it is something that should be of concern. And it should be of concern for a number of reasons. The main reason it should be of concern is because the dust, the Sahara dust, and in some instances the volcanic ash as well, many of them come across the Atlantic Ocean with a diameter of about less than 25 micrograms. And what that actually means is that the particles are small enough to be respirable, so to speak, in medicine. It means that humans can actually inhale those particles. That's what it means by being respirable. Above 25 micrograms, you do not inhale it. It may have other impact on yourself. For example, it may have impact on the skin for people who are allergic to some components of the dust. It may have other issues in the environment, but really and truly for respiratory people, those particles can be very, very significant for them to the extent that both the Sahara dust and the volcanic ash, they can cause severe inflammation or an inflammatory process on the surface of the lungs. And that can actually stimulate an asthma attack in some people. It can actually stimulate skin reactions or allergic reactions in other people. And for the volcanic ash in particular, because the ash is really minute particles of stone, really, that has broken up, it can be very abrasive. So persons can develop serious eye reactions, corneal scratching of the eyes, and these issues. And so that's why they are of concern to us as humans.
What should be one's immediate reaction as we refer to the issue of those with skin irritation? What should their immediate response be?
As far as skin reaction is concerned, the more you cover your skin is probably better. So I suppose wearing thin short sleeves and short skirts and short pants is probably not the best things at this point in time, but you never know. It's hot as well, so that poses a challenge for people. But the more you cover your skin is better for you. The eyes is a bit more difficult. The fact that we make tears in our eyes actually helps to protect our eyes from a lot of these kind of things. So people who have dry eyes, they probably might want to have some get something that they can irrigate their eyes with so that they protect their eyes. For respiratory problems or persons with asthma, it's a bit more challenging. What I would recommend for people with asthma is most asthmatics know that they are actually on two types of medicines, the Ventolin and the Becotide. The nickname for the Ventolin is called the reliever. It means it relieves an asthma attack. And the nickname for Becotide is the preventer, because that's the steroid. It prevents an attack. So at this stage, you probably want to have your preventer on hand, your Becotide, and you probably might want to take them even if you're not having a reaction, because by taking it, it actually prevents a reaction from coming on or prevents an asthma attack from coming on. Of course, if you're not successful and an asthma attack actually still comes on, then of course you want to add the Ventolin with it. And so those are really what most of the preventative measures can be done at this point.
As you said, Doc, most asthma patients, they know the telltale signs when they're going to, an attack is on. But let's assume maybe there's somebody listening who's probably, in more recent times, they've been introduced to that condition and they're not sure what to look for. What are some of the hints that one should look for as to suggest to them, you know what, I think I'm having an attack, let me get my inhaler?
Oh, I would have answered this question differently if it wasn't for COVID. But let me answer it now because of COVID. And that is, what we've always noticed is that for asthma attack persons, when they get into the ER, we would always do the vital signs, but for asthmatics in particular, we would always do the oxygen saturation. And that is that little medical instrument that we now know so well because of COVID, it causes your oxygen saturation to drop in your body. Now, just as how every household is trying to have a blood pressure machine to measure the blood pressure, and every household is trying to have a blood sugar machine to measure blood sugar.
Right.
Every household, especially asthmatics, should now try to avail themselves of one of these little things called a pulse oximeter. And what it actually does is measure the amount of oxygen that you breathe, the amount of oxygen in your blood that was successful in getting across your airway. So you're breathing this air, it goes across your airways, it goes across your lungs, and then it enters into your blood. Now for asthmatics, these oxygen saturation starts dropping a lot faster before you actually start getting short breath. So probably the best thing for asthmatics is to get one of these and measure yourself every day to see if your oxygen saturation is starting to drop. And that will give you an early sign that you need to start on your medication. But if you don't have one of these, of course, the most important thing you should look for is difficulty breathing. But even if before you got difficulty breathing, you might have a little stuffy nose, you might have a little pressure in the chest, you might have a little headache, just a little uncomfortable feeling. That uncomfortable feeling should not be taken for granted right now, as we are in this situation with both the volcanic ash and the Sahara dust.
Two things. As it relates to reading the device, the oximeter, you talk about the blood saturation, the oxygen saturation level. What would be the standard levels? And when you read it, at what point should you decide, you know what, this is the red flag? Gotcha.
The oxygen saturation that is normal for human beings is between 97% oxygen and 99%.
Right.
We don't breathe 100% oxygen because the air that we have right now is actually not 100%, which is interesting because if your oxygen saturation is 100%, it means that you're probably a little too anxious. You're probably breathing too fast. Nothing is wrong with you.
And that may not be too good, maybe.
Well, actually, it may not be too good because most of these people with 100% oxygen saturation, they feel they're sick. They feel like they're dying. Their heart is racing up too much. You're breathing too fast. Just relax yourself, okay? Just get back down to the 99%. So it's between 97% and 99%. So by the time you start dropping to 96%, 95%, 94, 93, something is definitely wrong. Our bodies don't tolerate low oxygen saturations very much at all.
Right.
So by the time you see 96%, just watch, take a few breaths and see if it's going to go back up to 97%. But on the 97% is where you start worrying. If you get into the 80s, the high 80s, like 85, 86, 87, then something is seriously wrong. You probably may want to go to the ER if you get to the high 80s. But the low 90s, you can tolerate that. You can take your medication and get yourself back up to 97%.
If you get to the mid 80s in that area, what happens to that individual in terms of how they feel and look?
They definitely feel short of breath. That's the major issues. You feel short of breath. And one of the ways to identify or to measure the shortness of your breath is to find out if you can complete a sentence without having to take a breath. Normally, we are able to complete one sentence without taking a breath. But if you have to stop halfway in a sentence to take a breath, then that means something is really, really wrong.
Maybe you can try a sentence like Jesus wept. I would try that.
But Jesus would weep for you if you use that sentence.
I mean, if you can't get through Jesus wept as a sentence, then you really need not just medication, you need Jesus as well. Doc, there is the old-fashioned way of the wheezing. And you take in your ears, put against the child, the child's is that, how practical is that? Is that, or is that just totally old school?
I mean, this is practical in the sense that you actually hear, but if you're going to wait to hear a wheeze, then something is wrong. You shouldn't wait to hear a wheeze.
Right.
Because a wheeze means, of course, you are in the mid-asthma attack, but one would wish that you identify the risk before the wheeze actually comes. Because let's be clear, an asthmatic may wheeze, but sometimes an asthmatic who is not wheezing may be a sign of impending danger and maybe actually be a sign of death. Because as someone goes through an asthma attack, He goes through a normal situation where he's not wheezing. Then he starts having shortness of breath and difficulty breathing. And then he starts to wheeze. If he doesn't get medical attention or no one identify that he's in trouble, then the wheeze actually goes away. When that wheeze goes away, that person is on the verge of death, because that person is on the verge of respiratory shutdown. That means the respiratory system and the trachea and the bronchioles and so on, they're so compromised, they're so full of mucus that you don't even hear a wheeze anymore. And that disappearance of a wheeze actually means that that person is on the doorstep of getting ready to go to heaven. So not all the time a wheeze is what you listen for. You listen for, the difficulty with breathing, the heaviness in the chest, they're not able to complete a sentence. All those kind of things are more important than simply waiting and listening for a wheeze.
I know you have to run, Doc, but I have to throw this. How important is it that parents get their children up to speed on those telltale signs? I know parents you often assume, because you're not always there to monitor your children. So how important is it that you educate the child so that he or she can recognize the feeling or those signs and symptoms and address it right immediately?
Oh, that's absolutely important. We're now living in the age of information, and COVID has taught us more than anything else how important information, and correct information that is, how much what effect that can have on us. So it's really important that parents get their children understanding what the signs are, and more importantly, again, understanding how to use their medicines or how to use their inhalers. I have learned that many of us as Grenadians who are prescribed inhalers like Ventolin and Becadec actually don't even know how to use it. I saw a man who was in his high 80s the other day, who came to me because he had difficulty breathing and his asthma was not controlled. When I asked him to use his inhaler, he was actually using his inhaler wrong. A lot of doctors prescribe inhalers, but not many doctors take the time to teach the patients how to use an inhaler. And I found that to be very, very instructive. So parents want to make sure that they visit a medical professional and learn how to use your inhaler. In that way, your child can be independent because the child knows how to use an inhaler, and the child knows how to identify the signs so that they become able to control their asthma, even if you are not around.
Quick demo, if you can, before you leave. And what should the course of action be if you were forced to use your inhalers more than twice in any 24-hour cycle?
Well, the truth is the inhalers can be used 4 to 6 times a day. Huh? That's to be honest. But the reason we don't tell patients to use it all these times a day is because we believe that if you have to use your inhaler more than 4 times a day, you probably should be in a hospital.
Right.
And that's why we say use it 3 times a day as the maximum. But the truth is, in the hospital setting, we nebulize people and we use those inhalers much more than 3 times a day. So if you realize that you need to use it more than 3 times a day, you probably need to have someone with medical training around you, or you probably need to be in hospital to get monitored.
Before we run off to buy our oximeter, quick demo on television, and at least what's the right way to use, not the oximeter, we've done that one, maybe you still can, but 30 seconds how to use the oximeter and how the proper way for the use of the inhalers.
Well, the pulse oximeter is pretty simple. You open it, you put your fingers in there, and you press start, and it actually comes up and shows you what your oxygen saturation is. It's a no-brainer. It's a very user-friendly kind of thing. With the inhalers, however, the issue is you want to try to get the medicine into your lung while you're breathing. So I refer to it as a long suck. You put the inhaler into your mouth, you breathe out all your air, then you do a puff, and as you do the puff, you take a long suck into your lungs. So it goes something like this. And hold for 10 seconds. You have to take that long suck of air into your lungs and hold for 10 seconds, and that's when you know you're actually getting the use of the inhaler.
Does the position of the head, does it make a difference? Should it be downward or should it be upward? Tilt backwards?
No, it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Keep your head as horizontal as you can. put the inhalers into your mouth, do that puff, and then you go into your lungs. That's it.
Doc, I know you have to run. Tell me, COVID vaccinations, you open today for that? Or for what time? And testings?
I'm open as soon as I get here, like 7:30 or 8 o'clock.
You were not billing me, were you? Well, you know what? Even if you have to bill, you know exactly who has to sign off on the invoice.
No, I don't charge.
Doc, I really, really, really appreciate it. Where can we find you?
Well, I don't advertise myself, so I don't say where
So, Doc, somebody wants to come and get a COVID test.
They may have to ask somebody else. It's just an ethical thing that I have for myself that I don't advertise myself.
I will tell them where to find you after I've actually released you off your duties right now. I will. Appreciate it, Doc. As always, God bless you. Have a super day.
All right. Bye-bye.
8 minutes onto the hour, Dr. Francis Martin, family friend, one of the coolest doctors you'll find around anywhere, any time of the day. Folks, we're getting ready to come to bring the curtains down on this, but while I'm at it, though, I still want to be able to... Kellen, work with me if you can. I know I sent to the guys yesterday the schedule for the COVID vaccines. I did send it yesterday. I had it up yesterday. I'm probably just going to look at my mail here to see if I can get it. This is not it here. I'm going to try this one here. Is it? No, that's not that one. I'm still hoping that I can pull it up to tell you the locations. I've got it. I've got the locations. So for today, Friday, the locations that is available for COVID testing and vaccination, and there's the Kirani James Stadium. You access through Gate B and all of the health centers across the Tri-Island state. You can also visit Dr. Francis Martin's office on Grenville Street, and he's available from 8 until 2. That's Mondays to Fridays. So Mondays to Fridays, 8 until 2. And on Saturdays, he's available from 9 until 12. For those of you opted to visit the health centers across the island, you are encouraged to walk with your ID, yes. And most importantly, you have to make an appointment. The numbers to engage to make that appointment for the health center in St. George is 440-3371. In Grand Bras, it is 442-7623. In St. David, it is 444-6249. Sates, 442-9317. In Guelph, it is 444-8414. And Hillsborough, Carriacou, it is 443-7280. 7280. Probably if I can, I know there are pop-up sites that are available this weekend. If I could just pull it up on my device here, I can probably share it with you, Grenada, before we actually run. I know I have it in here, maybe not, but probably I'm going to share it with you at another time. But certainly as you go through the day, reminding folks, do what you can to keep safe. I just heard from Dr. Martin. Listen, you know what your conditions are. Walk with your puff. And by the way, folks, it is difficult times, but if you do have a respiratory challenge that you are aware of, having one puff is a no-no. You need to have at least 2 or 3. Yeah, school's out on Monday. There should always be one in your child's school bag. You as a parent, I would encourage you to also have one available, and have one that is always just randomly around the house in a specific area, though, that you can always find, even with your eyes closed. You know exactly where that child's puff is. It may just probably mean the difference between life and death. And do encourage them. Let them know that when they feel, teach them exactly when they get the feeling that they know, you know what? I think I'm having, they can always say to you, Mommy, Daddy, Auntie, Uncle, I think my chest is tightening. I'm having difficulties breathing. I'm possibly having an asthma attack. And as the doctor says, listen, you pay for it, it is there. And always check before we leave, though. And I probably should have asked Dr. Taylor to make sure that you do not have one of these puffs that has expired and you're holding on to it. Yeah, but we talk about that another place on and time. 4 minutes on to the hour. At the top of the hour, we connect with the BBC for a bulletin of news. At 9 o'clock, I rejoin you on television for To The Point. This morning, we'll be talking to a representative, the communications officer from Swanside, NADMA, Oslin Crosby, and we'll be chit-chatting about the latest advisory from NADMA, and just bring us up to speed as what's happening the 2021 Hurricane Atlantic season. It seems almost we've forgotten that it's the hurricane season there, but God is good, you know, because God knows, really and truly, we have enough to deal with, don't have to worry with hurricanes in Grenada or across the region. Until then, everyone, so long, JC loves you. Continue to do what you have to do. At 8:30, folks, for those of you that's on Classic, we do the Song Clash. Today is dancehall. Old school versus new school dancehall. And boy, Gary will show you the power of the Classic Fan Club. Until then, folks, so long, everybody. JC loves you. I am out of here.